Hi guys, it's Tom from Comic Book Creature. It's time for a movie review. I want to try to review some movies that might not be quite on the beaten path sometimes. And I had an opportunity to grab this movie up, and I'm pretty excited about it. I got to watch it, and it's a rare gem. Those of you that know me know that I'm really into barbarian fiction and barbarian movies and anything that deals with the jungle and Tarzan and things like that. That's really in my wheelhouse. It's the stuff that I truly enjoy the most. I love those kind of things. And so when I get into fantasy movies, I really am where I want to be. I love fantasy literature. I love fantasy film. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. All of these things are pretty commonly known facts about myself, but the problem that we've seen, I remember back in the 80s, we had a whole lot of movies that kind of came out around the time that Conan was there, and a lot of them are only available on VHS now. And there's just not a lot of fantasy movies being made. Well, they might be being made, but they're not really getting a whole lot of mainstream exposure. We have some pretty bad films out there. We've had some pretty hokey and cheesy types of fantasy movies, and I completely understand that. It's just people trying to capitalize on the market as much as they possibly can. So I would like to showcase some really good films. I wanted to review this kind of film because I like to champion independent film, especially when it's done well. I would hope that this could possibly influence you to go and purchase a copy of this for yourself. The reason is because we need to support this type of independent work. And so I purchased my copy and I've watched it, and it is an absolute stellar work. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about The Headhunter. I know it looks kind of Skyrim-like, but a lot of people have commented on that, but it is really fantastic looking armor. The Headhunter. Okay, it's directed by Jordan Downey, all right? It was written by Jordan Downey and Kevin Stewart. It stars only two characters, one in a very minor role and one as the main role. Father, who's played by Christopher Ryg, R-Y-G-H, Ryg, I'm not sure if I'm butchering his name or not, is the main character, and he definitely carries this movie. There is a very small part played by by Cora Kaufman. It's his daughter. She's in it for just a few minutes, and that's just to kind of set the purpose of what's going on in this film. Now, it's 72 minutes long, and it is a horror movie, but it is also a fantasy movie. And so it's one of those rare fantasy horror films. Now, I know we have a lot of sci-fi horror movies, kind of like Alien and Aliens and movies like that. And we have fantasy films like The Lord of the Rings and things like that. But we actually rarely have a fantasy horror film. Now, full disclosure there, I realize that Jason and Freddy Krueger and that kind of stuff, that anything with supernatural elements falls into that realm of fantasy. I understand that. However, this, you don't think of like sword and sorcery and magic and monsters and that kind of stuff when you think about Freddy Krueger and Jason and those guys. What you think about when you hear fantasy is swords and sorcery and dragons and trolls and goblins and things like that. And this movie has accomplished something that is really rare today. It is a fantasy film that is really well done, but it is set firmly in the genre of horror, and it is a feast to the eyes. I absolutely love this movie. I began to hear a little bit about it. I'm going to set it down so I can talk to you a little bit about it. I began to hear a little bit about it, a while back. There was quite a buzz going on about it. People were talking about the possibility of this fantasy film coming out. Well, it's a micro-budget film. It's filmed for under $30,000. And to film a movie of this quality on a $30,000 budget is just mind-blowing. The vistas in this film are just gorgeous. The camera work is beautiful. I love the landscape. It's very bleak. It's really, I don't know, it's kind of isolated. It gives you that sort of feeling of just bleak isolation. Now, I don't want to get into too many plot points because I don't want to ruin it for anyone. However, suffice it to say, our main character, Father, lives alone because he has lost everyone. And he is on a quest to take care of that, kind of to avenge that. And it's about the magical events that occur and center around that. He is somewhat of a headhunter. There he is, out hunting these creatures of magic that he will get summoned occasionally by either a noise of some sort, or he'll find some sort of notice that he has to do, and he goes out to hunt these magical creatures. Sometimes, while doing so, getting grievously wounded. But of course, we have magical substances which are very uncomfortable and very painful, but that can help heal him. And that is where the plot is actually hung. I will mention a few things toward the end of this review, but I will warn you ahead of time before I say anything that might spoil something for you. This movie is so bleak. It is not a happy film. It is very bleak. It's very desolate. It's very isolated. And it is so well done that you just want to watch it over and over again, if you're into that sort of thing. The reason I would like to see films like this supported is I want more of them. I really do. So that's the reason I wanted to buy my own copy, which I was able to find this at Walmart, believe it or not. It just had a DVD release. Comes with a nice slipcase. There's some really nice art on the back. Let me see if I can get that up where you can see that. Okay, same thing here. It's a very simple production. Just the disc itself is inside. I generally keep my receipt. I think this cost me $12.96, and it is worth 3 times that easily. It's a fantastic movie. I just really, really enjoyed it. It's kind of a vengeance story. It's a father seeking vengeance. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but just understand that he is out for vengeance, and there's a reason for that. And it's very potent, and it's very powerful. Christopher Reig, however you say that, his acting in this is so good. You just believe him. He doesn't really say anything. He does most of it with just facial expression, noises, and how he just moves through his life. And he is indeed a headhunter. He will go out and he will kill these magical, mythical monsters, and he will peg their heads onto his wall as a trophy sort of thing. That's what it reminded me of. It reminded me like of a trophy room. And he would also stake up heads of other monsters outside to maybe ward off or warn some away from bothering him. He lives in a cabin, a little house way out in the middle of nowhere, all alone. He's completely isolated from pretty much the rest of the world. We don't really get to know why. I don't know if it's because he's unsavory, or if it's like he attracts danger, or what it might be, but he's out there all alone. And it's just this loneliness and this bleakness, and it's just this almost, it feels almost like a Lovecraftian hopelessness that it just covers this movie. Now, granted, you might not want to watch that when you are already feeling blue. It might make you feel a little bit depressed. It is so bleak and disturbing the way it's put out, but it is such a fantastic movie. The movie, again, I tell you, it was filmed for under $30,000. I did a little research. It did not have a domestic box office gross because it was not released in the United States. However, internationally, it did make $44,652. So it became profitable by about $14,652, which is not really much of a profit margin. However, the DVD sales are estimated to be at around $39,852. And I hope that we can push that even further with videos like this and reviews like this. This is a hidden gem, guys. This is one of those movies that you wish you had saw years ago when you stumble upon it at a yard sale somewhere. It's just that good. It really is. When I put it in late at night one night, I began watching it. And it begins with just an opening scene that is kind of strange and surreal. You don't know what's going on. And I'm going to speak a little bit about that right now. So, fair warning, possible spoilers. I don't know if you'll want to watch past this. Spoilers, and now we're good. Okay, at the beginning of this movie, we see Father's face just kind of staring out into the wilderness. He's just staring there toward the beginning. And you don't even know why. But what it is it's actually a mirror to what happens with his face as he is staring out into the wilderness at the end of the movie. Now, I'm going to leave it at that. At the beginning of the movie, he is kind of staring out into the universe, the world that he is in, just kind of like this. And at the end, he's doing the same thing, but it's for entirely different reasons. You will have to see what I mean. It's beautifully sandwiched together. This movie is not a movie that's going to make you go, yay, it's over. It isn't. It's a movie that's going to make you go, when it's over. You know, one of those? I know exactly how that feels because I've watched quite a few films that will do that to you. But after it's done and you can sort of break it down in your head a little bit, you will find yourself going, wow, what an incredible movie. What incredible performances. This thing deserves more attention than it is getting. Please, if you have any chance whatsoever to grab this film, get it. Don't bootleg it. Don't watch it on a streaming service. Buy it as a physical media copy. And let's send some money toward Jordan Downey and Kevin Stewart's way. So maybe they'll do something else like this. Or maybe other people will do something else like this. Do you know how long it's been since we've had truly, truly inventive and well-told fantasy stories? And then to throw horror in on top of that and give us a fantasy horror movie that doesn't have a cookie-cutter happy ending? In my book, you don't get much better than that. Check it out. It's great. I think you'll love it. Especially if you're like me and you love good cinema, great fantasy stories, and well-written scripts, and magnificent performances. Take care. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. If you like what we do here, please give us a subscription, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment. Let's continue the conversation down below us. If you have something about this movie that you'd like to bring out, maybe you've seen it. What did you think? I thought it was stellar. I absolutely love it. It is one of my favorite movies in recent memory. Take care. Be kind to each other. See you next time. There'll also be an extended review, written review on serialatmidnight.com. Be sure you check that out. Thanks a lot.